So why don't we just cut the chit chat? Let's get these guys in here. These guys need no introduction. They're the OGs in here, man. So production, if we could welcome Nihat, Cengiz. There we go.
Hey,
Flip them around. Hey.
Welcome.
Glad to
You
be here.
guys, thank you so much for being here today. Cengiz, you're taking time out of your vacation, man. God, like how? Just thank you so much.
Cengiz,
You're actually muted right now. Hold on one second. There we go. I got you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now. We got you.
It's not really a vacation when you're involved like with Dexalot. It's impossible to take a vacation. I'm telling you. And I just cut my hair, shaved my hair myself because
nice.
Right before that, just because of the workload, I was like this much hair and beard this much. Like it was crazy. So I didn't even have time. But for this show, and great introduction, by the way, Jimmy 2 times. Thank you very much. Great introduction on this show.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so I said I should shift back to my real self.
I just need to clarify something though for everyone here. When he says this much hair, it's actually this much hair.
Gentlemen,
me, man. Come on.
I think you remember 30 years ago when I really had this much hair, right?
You always remember that time, actually.
Yeah.
See, the funny thing about that is that I actually was in desperate need of a haircut earlier today, too. I got mine done, right? I had to go see my barber, Joe. And I've been looking like a ragamuffin the past couple streams because, I've been so involved with Dexalot stuff that I'm just like, whatever, it can wait, you know? And I went today and we'll see what happens because he did not sound super healthy. So hopefully if I get COVID, guys, I got it from Joe the barber, okay? Anyway, it is such a pleasure to have you guys here. We are broadcasting both on twitch.tv/Dexalot and on twitter.com @Dexalot, Dexalot.com. If you're joining us on Twitter and you want to join the conversation, if you have a question for the chat, make sure you come on over to twitch.tv/Dexalot. Join us in the chat. Unfortunately, we don't have the chat enabled on Twitter, but we do have it on Twitch. So join us over here if you have any questions. And Nihat and Cengiz, Firestorm, we do something over here whenever we have a very in-depth discussion about technical things that I know is going to blow my mind. I like to call that big brain time. And I have a feeling, and what happens during big brain time, and I'm glad I got a haircut today, because if I hadn't got a haircut, I feel like it'd already be my hat would be too tight, right? So I'm going to take off my hat now, because I feel like my head is going to start to grow from everything, all the knowledge you guys are going to drop, okay? If I could just open the floor to you guys, and just the subnet has been under construction. Pretty much, it's been talked about since I was hired back in January. I remember hearing about the subnet and how that was, what we were working towards.
Jimmy, actually, if I can jump in, I actually want to emphasize one thing.
Yes.
I apologize for interrupting. I think it's important. So first of all, as Cengiz said, he's not in his usual location. I think it's actually nighttime there, and I kind of want to emphasize this. Nihat, Cengiz, can you guys share a little bit about what your work hours over the last few weeks, maybe months look like? What it took to bring the subnet to this cusp of sort of reaching mainnet. I really want people to hear this because, we're all in a bear market, things are slow, blah, blah. Definitely not the case for Dexalot. I think it's really important for our people to hear it directly from our founders. So I kind of wanted to, give them a taste of what your life is like right now so that you can bring the value.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, thanks for asking, because we don't get appreciated in that sense. I think only
we appreciate you, man.
We
love you guys.
We appreciate you guys.
Our team knows, everybody works so hard, right? Everybody works so hard. But from the outside, our followers, let's call them, our followers really don't know what we're going through. So the bear market actually gave us some breathing room, because we've been trying to build so hard and so fast. And with the bear market a little bit, we said, okay, let's take a little bit of time and engineer this thing the right way, right? And that didn't really help us lower our work hours, but at least we didn't feel the stress to finish it earlier than it should be finished. So, I mean, we work weekdays and weekends, and especially if you are in a foreign country like I am in Turkey right now, I start sometimes at the Turkish hours. I finish at New York hours. So that can span over like 15 hours easily. Same with Nihat. I'm sure he can talk about it as well himself. But the whole team, again, is just putting, we're putting our heads together, trying to solve this big problem that we had in hand. And we kept building in countless hours. It was actually a very, very fulfilling process because subnet itself, even the Avalanche, didn't have a clear idea. I think back last year they had a idea what they wanted to do, but they didn't really have the details. So we didn't know these details either. So we found out along the way some of the details. So that kind of also added some complexity to the process because we had to redo certain things based on their recommendations. But it was a very fulfilling and extremely, extremely tiring process. And for the ones that are really, our application is not just the contracts and the front end. Our application has so many components, from the back end, from the database, from the contracts, auxiliary applications. We have like support, like admin managers. We have our suite of applications is growing so much. It's incredible. The lines of, I don't know how many lines of code we have. Maybe like, I don't know, I'm just going to throw an idea, like maybe like 50,000 lines of code across all the applications. I mean, hopefully I'm not exaggerating too much, but that's a lot.
And one thing I just want to add, this is something I've heard from you guys, right? The lines of code that we have for testing, making sure everything is actually in order, is more than the actual execution code, right? Like, I think it is also important for people to know, like, there is an incredible amount of work that goes into, as Cengiz said, engineering things the right way. Okay. Like, we can't emphasize that enough. And, there's plenty of testing behind the scenes that nobody else is seeing as well.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's a very good angle, actually. So especially when you look at it from contracts perspective, our coverage is very, very high, and we are aiming really close to 100% of coverage in terms of both unit testing as well as integration.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
And it ends up being a couple of times lower than the actual code itself.
I mean, that's a good thing, right? Maybe given the volume of issues that decentralized applications are having, like whether it's bridges or DeFi applications, etc., maybe this right here is a metric that people need to pay attention to, whether it's, figuring out what projects are safe, or whether it's for VCs to figure out where they invest into, right? Maybe this is a metric that we should actually go out and say, look, guys, here is how our coverage for the smart contracts look like. Here is how much time and effort we're spending on testing. Because really, if you think about Web 2 world applications that are mission critical, such as exchanges, they have this level of coverage. So I think the standard that we're sort of displaying here needs to apply to all the applications.
When you look at it from architectural perspective, the single chain application we started with was already a unique application, actually. So it wasn't a clone of any other previously existing application. And therefore, we took our time, actually. So we had a very long testnet presence in Fuji. We ended up having games and full community involvement. We were very grateful on that one. And then around May of 2022, we started very heavily focusing on the dual chain application, which is more or less a brainchild of Cengiz, really. He created the architecture and made sure every single component actually is transformed to the dual chain application. And now we are in the same position, actually, like we were for the single chain application. We are in this testing period. We are in the test net, and we are not rushing anything, actually. So we would like to make sure that people's funds, assets are safe, and people have a good experience playing with Dexalot.
So I guess, I mean, as an end user, this is exactly what I'd like to hear, right? Oh, we're super fast in like writing code and putting stuff out there. That's great, but if I end up losing assets, that's not necessarily great, right?
Exactly.
So that's great to hear. One thing that I kind of wanted to remind you guys, I'm gonna assume that you watched that episode also, but there was a claim by me. Quite frankly, credit to you both rather than myself, but I made the claim that our way of innovating when it comes to main chain to subnets is going to be cloned, and that way of doing things is going to be cloned many times. It's a non-financial advice prediction of mine. And now that you guys are here, now that you guys have said engineering it the right way, I kind of wanted to do a quick, explainer of it. Can you guys tell us a little bit about the architecture and what's unique about it for our subnet implementation?
Cengiz, I think that's
Well, yeah. So I'm coming from Wall Street background, as you may know, and I've been building trading systems in a certain particular way, and blockchain environment was foreign to me when I started. So whatever I had, basically, it was more natural to me to do Wall Street way, let's call it. It doesn't mean that it is definitely the right way, because there are things that had to change. But I had to implement whatever I had done in the Wall Street in a blockchain environment. So, and usually there is a saying in the computer programming thing. It's like, keep it simple and stupid. Okay, KISS method.
KISS, yes.
KISS.
Love
that
keep it
band.
simple. That's that. So basically, when I was thinking about the subnet, how we can implement it, I was thinking, okay, the easiest way is just to mirror what's happening, mirror what's in the mainnet and mirror it in the subnet with as quickly as possible. Transfer that, like in a way it's bridging, but at the same time, we didn't want to be dealing with actual ERC20 tokens, people going like, trying to do different things with the ERC20 tokens. We said, we'll be in an enclosed environment. We'll be controlling both the mainnet portfolio and the subnet portfolio. So basically, we can just say, hey, the mainnet has 10 AVAX for this trader. As long as we can just mirror that in the subnet with a simple message, it's not a bridging function, it is a message. And that was inspired by the FIX protocol in the financial exchange world, FIX as the Financial Information Exchange Protocol. And so it's basically, it is driven by like messages with, back and forth. So that kept the cost down, because when you literally bridge an ERC from one blockchain to another, you pay a high fee. But if you send a simple message, you only pay the size of the message that dictates how much you pay. So that was a barrier to entry, because I wouldn't know if anybody would like to bridge 10,000 USDC and then get charged like 2% bridging fee from the bridge service provider, not from us. So basically, by just doing with a message, we lowered it to under $1, maybe even less, depending on which chain you are. So that simplifies this. And on the other hand, because we controlled both sides, we don't have to worry about getting the audit part. Like, let's say not the audit, the accounting part. So both the mainnet has to be equal to the subnet at all times, as long as they're enclosed and there are no, you cannot enter to the contracts from anywhere else. What I mean by that, if there are 10 AVAX and 10 USDC in the mainnet, you send them into subnet, and you can just do multiple transactions between 1,000 traders with those at the end of the day, they're going to stay 10 AVAX and 10 USDC, no matter how many transactions you have. So this is the basic, simple principle that we built this on. And the bridge, like I said, simple message to keep the cost down. And the accounting, like I explained, it's like an accounting methodology.
So
in an enclosed
can
system.
Can I then simplify and I guess comparing it to, for a lack of a better example, right? If we compare it to the Ethereum to Avalanche bridge, they actually take the assets, wrap them, and move them to the next network. In our case, then, we're not really wrapping and moving assets. We're effectively creating an environment where we're mirroring their balances so that they can trade more efficiently, more cheaply. And because of the way you guys approached it, the fee that a non-Dexalot service provider would charge them is as minimal as possible. Is that correct?
That's a good summary, I think.
I think we lost Cengiz briefly.
Yeah, that's a very good summary, Farstrom. That's exactly right. One other aspect we were very much focusing on was the user experience. We didn't want to add one more step of transferring things back and forth over a bridge, basically. We wanted, our goal was when everything's said and done, it needed to be a seamless experience, like you do with our single chain application currently. From your wallet, you deposit to your portfolio and do your trades. That notion shouldn't change, basically. We paid a special attention to trying to keep that workflow intact, actually. And the messaging architecture that Cengiz just outlined and you summarized enables actually that.
That's pretty cool. So I guess if I take this architecture one step further, that means that as an end user, I'm gonna deposit once, right? And from that point on, my Dexalot user experience shouldn't change at all. I'll obviously be communicating with the subnet, but I'm entering trades, I'm entering orders, canceling orders, receiving trades. And in reality, I'm dealing with a subnet rather than the mainnet, but it really looks exactly like what we've seen before, right?
That's
Is that correct?
Exactly right. That's exactly
amazing.
That was
amazing.
Conceptually, and I'm going to use it kind of loosely, conceptually it resembles to an L2 type of environment, basically, where you are moving computationally heavy operations to subnet, which is in the end a scaling solution, a horizontal scaling solution for blockchains, right? And that's what we are capitalizing on in Dexalot using the subnets. And that's exactly what we did. We are just moving assets, doing millions of transactions there and taking out whenever we needed to mainnet. And this getting into and out is as seamless as before, actually. So it's just like when you sign on Binance or Coinbase, for example, you still have to fund your portfolio in that exchange and do your transactions. And it's the same concept applied to blockchain environment, basically.
Amazing. So then, naturally, as you can imagine, what you guys just described makes me want to ask 50 million more questions rather than, be satisfied. So I guess in this setup, then, our risk is going to come from a third-party vendor that's in the middle. So we're going to depend on a single provider to bridge or rather send messages back and forth between our mainnet contract and subnet contract. So how are you guys thinking about this risk? Is this a risk that, potentially can harm Dexalot, or do you guys already have a solution to this issue as well?
So it depends how you look at it, actually, right? So there are always different angles from something like that. From the architecture perspective, and I think Cengiz can allude to that a lot more, we are built totally bridge agnostic. all the underlying technology that Cengiz put in place is bridge agnostic. But we are starting the testing as well as probably the production stage with the default bridge implementation using layer 0. And whether this one is more security-wise sensitive or not, I would argue actually we are kind of reducing the attack surface here and focusing on one bridge and making sure that one, every hole on that one is covered.
So for launch, absolutely. But I guess I kind of want to focus on bridge agnostic. That implies as we continue building, as we scale, it will allow us to add any other bridge that we think is good and safe. And in reality, I guess, does that mean that if I'm as an end user, I deposited my assets, I'm trading, if one bridge goes down, theoretically, I could still use another one to pull assets out if I choose to do so. So it actually improves safety rather than reduces it. Is that correct? Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, definitely. I mean,
Awesome.
that actually, we implemented 2 bridges just for testing and we could literally do deposit in one, withdraw in another. But later on, we decided to go with one.
No, of course.
The reason, one of the reasons is, again, in the fixed protocol, the messages are ordered, always ordered. And if you miss one message, the fixed protocol calls the other side and requests for the missed messages.
The good old sequence numbers, eh?
Yes, the sequence numbers, the old sequence numbers, exactly. You're well aware of those. So, and Layer 0 provided that out of the box, ordered messages, and nobody can interrupt them. They will not be sent unordered, or a third party cannot reorder them in a way, right? Just in case there's some MEV or whatever that they want to exploit. So that was the one reason that we said, okay, let's go with Layer 0. And the other reason is Layer 0 is, they say they are a protocol, they are not a service provider. I can expand on that, but I want to, before I forget, I want to also add the risk. When you asked about the risk, we as Dexalot, we take all the risk on portfolio contracts. So when you deposit, our contracts holding that, not a third party, not a bridge provider. Our contracts are holding the deposited amounts in the mainnet, and the message gets sent out to the subnet. So there is no bridge that you have to trust technically, because the money is in our contract.
Amazing. Okay.
That's
a great clarification.
We can get into the details of the other things, but we can get into that.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to see if we get any questions in the chat, actually. Again, this is kind of a lot more informative than any of the sessions me and Jimmy did so far. Definitely. So I kind of want to leave some space there. But I guess one more iteration, as you guys are talking about, I'm just sort of trying to piece it all together in my head. Does that mean that our solution, okay, first it's bridge agnostic, but when it's bridge agnostic, would it allow our solution to ultimately be chain agnostic as well? How would that work?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
that was also a part of the architecture.
I love it.
Right question being asked, guys. Take note.
So, yeah, I mean, when I was kind of looking at it, I was thinking, okay, if we do it this way, there's no reason not to put the front end or the main part, the main portfolio in another chain, just like the saying, all roads lead to Rome. So all blockchains can lead to our subnet, sending the asset messages to be traded. The money will be kept in the blockchain of the original blockchain. So there's no literal transfers inside within the blockchains. And when they want to retrieve it, it's going to be ready for them. There is a slight problem that we didn't implement that yet, that we have to think about. If you want to, if you deposit in scenario that we will solve eventually, because the multi-chain is not in our plans for this year, right, Nihat? Anyway, so
you may want to actually turn off the video maybe, because your speech is
the bandwidth situation doesn't look great.
No.
I guess like the point there is, like, there's a lot of great things being built on Avalanche, right? A lot of games are coming. They're all thinking about their subnets, and ultimately they're all going to run into the issue of issuing assets or having assets in the main chain and then needing to use them in a subnet, etc. Theoretically, for their exchanging or trading purposes, like, we could have direct connectivity to a subnet to our subnet. Yeah.
So, Firestorm, maybe I can summarize this way. The heavy lifting of overall Dexalot operations or transactions is done on the subnet, right? So, for the subnet, we have a lot more contracts deployed. We have more things happening there. From the mainnet, we only have 2 contracts essentially handling the message bridging and portfolio itself. So technically, you can deploy that to any Ethereum compatible virtual machine and become the gateway to Dexalot subnet. So that's the architecture we have in mind, and that's hopefully coming in 2023 actually.
That is very cool. Now, the super key question: what was the take on this approach by Avalabs? Like, what did they think? Like, I assume, obviously, Dexalot talks to Avalabs a lot, right? What was their take on this implementation that you and Cengiz came up with?
This was a mutual decision, actually. So that's in the end, as Cengiz said, as all the roads are leading to Rome, all different blockchains are leading to Avalanche technology, which is the subnet, which is hopefully becoming the horizontal scaling solution, not just for Avalanche, but the entire blockchain space.
Boom. This is exactly the answer I wanted. People may remember the rhetorical claim that I made. This solution is going to be cloned. You heard it here, boys, for the first time, and these guys built it. So.
Exactly. And speaking of that, we actually do have a couple questions in the chat. It looks like Firestorm, you've got a hello from DeFi Pod.
Hello.
And they are saying, can you talk for a second about the possibility of community building on the subnet and bringing in, for example, lending providers? I'm super interested to see what might happen with community adoption around Dexalot.
I mean, we got the founders here. I don't know if it's for me to answer, but Nihat, Cengiz, would you guys like to take this one, or should I take it?
You already know the answer, right? So it's one of the things we discussed internally. Certainly, those type of things are possible. It's in the end, it's subnet itself is a relatively standard Ethereum virtual machine. So therefore, partnerships that lead to those kinds of additional products are possible. So we don't have to build everything in-house.
Absolutely.
It's actually more fun if you do it as a community with more involvement, actually.
100%. And in fact, just to sort of put my take on that question, if you think about the subnet model, we are mirroring the mainnet in terms of balances, and it's kind of like credit, right? But in reality, for additional features that, if you've seen the Dexalot roadmap on there is going to be stuff that requires a lending model potentially, etc. So, absolutely, we need to be thinking about these solutions. And if people out there are building things that are compatible with subnets, such as the Dexalot subnet, or, we have plenty of partners. Benki, I would like to call as one of our primary partner supporters as well.
Sure.
Like there may very well be synergies in the future as we finalize the subnet launch. So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Cengiz,
I
go
just want to add quickly something that, take this with a grain of salt anyway for people out there, because when we made the conscious choice of running an enclosed system and not bridging actual ERC20 tokens, we said that whoever comes in our subnet as a secondary or tertiary application, they have to abide, and we have to somehow we have to change the rules of the game a little bit. So because
Definitely.
there is no ERC in the subnet anymore, there is the mirroring numbers. So we have to kind of send that mirroring number to the secondary application. So you understand what I'm saying, right? So it needs to be well thought out before it is. Yeah. So basically, it's going to take a little bit more time to architecture, right?
I guess
Yeah.
I mean, like right now, we've built a subnet specific to exchanging of assets. And as I guess the subnet technology evolves, like there's a lot of features that we're still waiting from Ava Labs. For example, permissionless subnets, right? Right now, all the subnets that exist are permissioned. There's going to be additional features that Ava Labs is building to make them permissionless. As we get more features, as this technology gets, more evolved, and as we have better sort of proven this technology, really anything is game. That's kind of how I look at it. It's so novel. We're actually going to be the third subnet out there. Like there's a lot more optimizations to be done. I really have the sort of wish that a exchange subnet like ours to be able to rival centralized exchange solutions like NASDAQ or NYSE, right? When we get there, like it's going to be a sight to behold. And, together with that, there's going to be many additional features that, we'll look to build. I guess with that, would you guys like to talk a little bit about our upcoming roadmap? Obviously, we published what we're thinking for the next year. Obviously, the subnet is a big launch. It's kind of like our initial launch. I know that it's the first and most important thing that we'll do. But do you guys mind touching on what we're going to do next year?
Nihat, you want to take it? A few of them.
You go
ahead. What did we say on the roadmap?
That's exactly why I said I'm just kidding.
So many things that we want to build. So many things. There's not enough time. And it's so exciting, really, to be in the middle of this. And we're so proud to have built something like this, really. And the whole team works so hard. So basically, as soon as we launch, one of the things that we always talked about, and Crypto Kindergarten also asked the question, saying that it is very similar, like in AMMs is easier and so forth. So we want to literally provide a solution that is similar to AMMs, that you can interact with the mainnet, but in the background, there will be things happening with the subnet that will facilitate all this transaction. So it will still use the subnet. It will be hopefully fast enough for the users to not worry about the speed. And it's going to be, the price-wise, it's going to be great. And the user is going to see a simple screen, right? So we really know that you guys want this. You want this, and we know it, and we want to give it to you. That's one thing that is high on our list. Another thing that we were just talking today, it's not in the roadmap, but I would like to add this. We want more community focus. And one way to achieve that is to give the backbone of our market maker bots and open the source code to the community and let them build their own market makers.
Where is the alpha screaming?
I was just getting it, dude.
Can you press those buttons, whatever you have over there, please, man? Like it's important. Cengiz is talking about alpha, man. This is not written anywhere. Come on.
Yeah.
So actually, when you asked the question, I thought Cengiz is going to talk about the stuff he said on the roadmap. He said
That's what I thought too. So he's giving us
everything else but
Hell yeah.
I forgot the roadmap. That's why I'm just saying.
Just spitballing.
uh,
I do have to say we have a comment from Growing Up with Khan. He's one of our regulars here on the stream, and he says, "Bro, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a group of founders who smile and love their work this much." And that's just the way it is over here, man.
Very
I love it.
true. Very true.
Well, it is because it's a conscious choice that we made, guys. Literally, I quit Wall Street and I said, I don't want to work and I don't want to slave for others, right? And I said, I want a place where I build with others, that we own the product all together. And if we get rich, we all get rich, right? And, you know, with the community as well. It's not just the work, people are working, but everybody. So it was my conscious choice. So that's why I'm very happy with it. Even though I work sometimes 15, 16 hours, it's well worth it.
Yes, when you love what you do, that's what it is. And you guys know we love to have fun over here. So chat. So thanks for noticing, Khan, because we do love to smile and have fun on the Dexalot team. And also shout out to our guy Buckets in the chat. This is the what did he say? What did you say? This is the ultimate build or alpha. Yes, this is pay attention, guys. So Nihat, I'll throw it back to you. It looks like you had something you wanted to.
Yes, Nihat seems to remember the roadmap. Maybe we should touch on that too. Yeah.
That we had on the roadmap for 2023. One is the mobile app itself. So hopefully, we are not very happy with the mobile experience we have for Dexalot. We are working on it pretty hard in the background, and we would like to top it with a dedicated mobile app in 2023 or towards the end of the year. Obviously, that perps are on our roadmap, as we mentioned on that tweet. That's another thing that we are being asked over and over again from users. So we will focus on that one in 2023 again and get it hopefully done.
Talk about the rewards, Nihat, in 2020.
Oh, yeah, we forgot. Yeah,
the rewards is big. I mean, like, so all these, like, you know, actually, we're in a cab in Barcelona. Me, Nihat, Firestorm. I'm like, guys, AMMs, you know, you can deposit, open up a pool, and then you can put money, and then you get, some type of interest, right? So how can we compete with that? What if people can send orders, and based on how far they are to the mid, we give them some interest? So it wasn't my idea. I had heard this before from a few channels. And I said, we can do that, but it's so hard to do it in the contract level. And Firestone said, well, let's do it off chain. In the cab, like we're going to somewhere. And then I'm like, yeah, why not? So yes, so based on that talk, very soon we're gonna have yield-bearing orders, what we call. And if you guys have a better name, please go ahead and help with that.
The marketing team's got you covered, man. We got you. We got you. Don't worry. We'll have something good real soon for you.
Yeah, but that's what we call it right now, yield-bearing orders. So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have based on how much volume you transact, you will get some rewards as well. And if you have some deposited a lot to the portfolio, you will have some additional rewards as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a combined score, and we're going to have a monthly scoreboard. Just correct me. And also, this monthly scoreboard is part of Firestorm's ideas and how we should have that. Firestorm, why don't you take it away from there, actually?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, right, when you look at successful TradFi and DeFi exchanges, there is always the concept of, bro, we are providing you a better service. As we grow, we want you to grow with us, right? You bring your activity to us. It helps us in turn have better pricing, better liquidity for the next guy. And if we sort of grow, we want to share some of our ultimate, benefits with you as well. So that's the main idea. Like, I think your idea of creating value for basically entering orders into the exchange, which creates depth, was genius. And we've arrived at a point where we're now going to be able to quantify it. We're going to be able to give people very clear levers that they're going to be able to see, make conscious decisions on, and ultimately, if they're trading on Dexalot, it's going to be better than trading on an alternative, right? We've seen a good number of models like this, by the way. There is other exchanges out there that have done incentive programs. It's just the way they've done incentive programs most of the time was based on volume only. We kind of wanted to give people, like the folks who have been supporting us all along, right? They have tokens, they want to stake them. Boom, this can be part of the formula. People who want to support and add liquidity, market makers, etc., they're going to enter orders, but not all the orders are necessarily going to execute, right? They still create value, right? They still create depth for other people to sweep if they choose to do so. So boom, your solution helps them as well. So the scoreboard will also allow people to track what they're doing well, and what ultimately their efforts are going to yield them. So in that sense, we think this is going to be a very nice, complete new feature that will incentivize people to come in, use our solution. Combining that with the market making engagements that our COO, myself, we've been engaging, trying to get more liquidity, trying to get more market makers. I think we really are making good progress on trying to take the crown, and when it comes to pricing, depth, and ultimately trading experience. Anyways, I didn't mean to get carried away. Like, this again.
No, that was great.
You guys smile. I smile, right?
No, that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I think it resonates really well what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, like you guys already said it, right? It's no secret. We have received feedback from our community. Cengiz, like, listen, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe Jimmy, you heard it from Cengiz and Nihat. They know exactly what you said. They want to get that to you. It's just, the way we build is not like, we don't want to build it just for speed. We want to optimize it for speed and safety and experience, right? So all three, trust me when I say, takes 15, 16-hour days from the likes of Nihat and Cengiz, right? These guys have plenty of experience, and even they have to spend this kind of time to make everything, be engineered properly. Anyways, I know we're coming up on like 4 p.m. I don't want to take much more of your time. I kind of want to turn it over to you guys. Nihat, Cengiz, do you guys want to have any additional comments? Obviously, anything that you want to touch on? We're already getting some.
I would like to thank the entire team, really, not just in your show, but we have a big team and everyone's working as hard as Cengiz and I, and they're delivering. And we would like to take the opportunity to really thank them, as well as the community, for supporting us. I mean, we feel that support, and that's what makes the journey so fun that Cengiz mentioned. Right? So I really don't feel a thing when I work 16 hours, when I have that kind of support, both from the team and the community, actually. So it's all worth it. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you guys, man.
We got lucky, really. We got lucky with the people that we found that was introduced to us from different channels, and really, I mean, just everything clicked in a way. It's kind of, can we be this lucky sometimes? like like we found our COO Tim is like, okay, he's like a gem, like really, like, and that was Firestorm who just introduced to us. And the story behind how we met Firestorm is just another show, technically. So it's everything, right?
Well, we need that story, though. We definitely need that story.
Yeah. And their team, like Ilker, Veysel, everybody is like those guys are like amazing. So yeah, thank you to all of you guys, and hopefully we can. I don't know if they would like to be on the show, but hopefully they will want to come. The dev team, for example, would want to come to the coders are not usually that talkative, but maybe we can do like a group session one day.
Let's get it going.
We'll give them a couple fermented beverages. Let them get into their groove, exactly. and then we'll have them on the show.
Yeah, just want to mention Jonathan as well, right? So it's such an integral
Jonathan, like
show and team.
Yeah, we're really lucky, man. I feel like because we echo this in the marketing chats all the time, and it's one of those things where we really love what we do, and we have so much fun when we're talking to each other. We'll say things like that all the time, like, wow, we really did get lucky, because the way that we were able to communicate with one another, and the things that we're able to achieve with each other's help. And I mean, we have our designer, John, producing this entire stream for us right now. Mm-hmm. So everybody works together. We have just, it sounds corny, but we have really good vibes over here. And so thank you to our founders for bringing us all into the fold here, because I got to tell you, it's been a great journey, and I'm very, very excited to see where it goes.
Thank you very much. Same here.
Thank you.